How y'all doing today? It's another episode of Dost Isms. I think this is episode 25, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been around lately because I've been preparing some paperwork that I get done, and it took me about 2 months to get a 10-page document together, but it had to be put together right. A lot of stuff going on today. A lot of stuff. You've got the Epstein files going on. You've got the ice on the streets. You've got our trade collapsing. You got all kinds of crazy things going on, and it's the death of democracy. We are, you can say that we're in fascism right now, and I can play a relevant part in this. I believe I've got something to offer everybody that can get us away from fascism, or at least get us to escape from all of the something that we could do individually to get us all to escape, whether it's fascism or not, to get us in a better financial situation, in a better position overall. There's no reason why anybody should be homeless in this country, except for the attorneys that make it so. There's no reason for us to pay for medical care at all. None whatsoever, except for capitalism. So all these Medicare cuts that we're experiencing with Trump's big, beautiful bill, all the things that are going on with Palantir, all the things that are going on with these begging billionaires boys club, whatever you want to call them, the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks, all these people, all this stuff, all the struggle for power. If you want to say there's a deep state, there's it's certainly not the Democrats. It's looking like it's more with the Republicans, but the deep state originates in patents and trademarks, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it originates. So who am I? I'm Ken Dost, and my background is in architecture, 25 years in architecture. And after the economic collapse, for some reason, I don't know why, I kind of got pulled into researching patents just kind of pulled in that direction. I think it's a couple of friends of mine say it was a divine blessing. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But I spent 14 years researching patents and trademarks. I've unwound them. I understand them. I understand the trade secrets behind them. And I got a lot of information to share with everybody that is going to shock everybody. But at the same time, though, it's going to probably infuriate you because you're going to learn about how we've been lied to all these years. I was the only one, with the people I brought along with me, but I was the only one that in the 25-year history of the Office of Petitions and the position of Director of the United States Patent and Trademarks Office / Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Properties, who has ever called the heads in their bullshit. It's the only one that ever done it. That's out of hundreds of millions of people. So I've done something pretty good, I think. I think I've done something great, actually. But I'm not looking for accolations on that or anything. That's not what I'm looking here. That's not why I'm here. Why I'm here is to educate people on intellectual properties because it's important. It's very important. It's everything, actually, that can make a big difference in your lives and this country, as a matter of fact, and may save us from the clutches of fascism. Now, I don't want to be political. I'm trying not to be political here, right or left, but I have to take that position because what I see Trump doing is Trump is destroying everything. Trump's a criminal, plain and simple. He's a criminal. He's a liar. And hopefully that you MAGAs will see this now that you realize, and wait a second here. If he's not releasing all this stuff, where's that Hillary Clinton there, adrenochrome drinking world cabal, this pedophilic cabal and all the bodies and everything? If Trump's not going to release that, what's he protecting them for? He's not protecting any Democrats because there is no cabal. Trump is the pedophile. If he lied to you about that, he's lied to you about everything else. So I do have to take a political edge on this because I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not going. Although I have a lot of criticism from MAGA people, but I'm not going to criticize in this instance because you got duped, and we all got duped. Okay, and it's by intellectual properties. What happened with intellectual properties? So if you know anybody who has lost their home by illegal foreclosure, unlawful foreclosure, thrown out at the point of a gun, then I want you to share this with them because they're going to want to know what's in this, what I have to share. I got a lot of information to share, and it's going to be a lot of information that people have never heard before, And there's going to be people out there say, oh, yeah, okay, well, you do this paperwork, you do that paperwork, and get a trust, and do this, and do the bill of exchange, do a bond, and all this stuff. Please, I get it. That would have been good 25 years, maybe prior to that. Things are different now. Okay. So I've got a lot to share here. It's about patents and trademarks. So let's begin. So this is kind of like episode 25, but you might as well consider this really episode one because I'm kind of starting over again. And it can be a lot more thorough and a lot more detailed. Now, back in, I mentioned that I was the first one in 25 years who has called the hedge on the Office of Petitions. Well, okay, let me describe what the Office of Petitions is. The Office of Petitions was created out of whole cloth, as was the position of the director of the USPTO, who is also the Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Properties. It's created out of whole cloth underneath the 1999, let's see if I get this, I'm gonna make sure I get this right here. The 1999 America Invents legislation, I believe is what it is. If I don't have that right, I might not. And it's created, let's see, where is it? Yes, no, here it is. American Inventors Protection Act of November 29th, 1999. Okay, and it was created out of whole cloth. And the reason why this was because of deregulation of derivatives. And also this proceeded from the State Street ruling in 1998 that State Street versus Signature Financial Group that the court said that automated business methods were patentable. Okay. So what happened here was over the next couple of years, ordinary course practices that you and I have been familiar with for decades, and our parents and our grandparents that we're all familiar with. We all build our lives around it, right? We buy a house, we save money for the down payment, and so we build our lives around this stuff. And this is ordinary course practices. Now, the only problem with that is this new model put to death ordinary course practices. Only the image exists. The image exists to make you believe that we still have ordinary course practices when in fact it's been dead for 25 years. So what's been replaced with, and this is kind of how I sum it up here. I wrote that a model. It's the legislature's commerce and trade, finance, economic/government, public-private marketplace. And that is a model that is, this is how I wrote it up and determined it, or summed it up. It's a model that's entirely automated, an entirely automated closed-loop system built on rules and case-based, artificially intelligent decision and reasoning foundation. Designed and engineered to operate on automated patented processes and methods, coupled by an automated trademark/service mark system through which goods, products, services are laundered and trafficked. Now, in this case, I was speaking with specificity to myself, but this can be specificity to you as well. This is a model that alienates an immaterial property. That's that artificial person, capitalized name. That is my individual ownership and your individual ownership. That is made foreign and independent from our living persons. Upper lowercase name. It's an immaterial property whose members, parts, and objects are made the subject of an innumerable amount of automated patented processes and methods. And when I talk about innumerable amount, I'm talking thousands, people, tens of thousands perhaps, and an even greater number of trademark service marks. A model conceived on intellectual properties, which is defined to include patents, trademarks/service marks, copyrights, appellations of origin, know-how, and trade secrets. So that's how I sum this model up. It can also be summed up as follows. If you want to go in the spiritual realm. So I wrote this: legislature's commerce and trade, finance, government/economic public-private marketplace separates the living body from its indivisible union with the soul, from which is abstracted a non-human person. That's an artificial person, which is of course immaterial because it doesn't have any material, it doesn't have any matter to it. It exists in form only, right? Let's see here. Two persons, one material and one immaterial, both of whom are placed under the governance and control of two sovereign masters, pain and pleasure, opposite one another like two hostile brothers, the one just, the other unjust, the one a saint, the other a sinner, the one a child of God, and the other a slave of Satan, both controlled by imposed intermediaries, Chinese law, that stand between. It is they who direct what I ought to do as well as what I shall do. It's the cause and effect of which is in forced servitude to a foreign throne in his ideology. So that's a spiritual way that I've summed it up. So it does all come down to this artificial person, which is immaterial. It's not a corporation. People always want to say it's a corporation. It's not a fucking corporation. It's an entity. It's a company. It's not a corporation. It was never incorporated. It was never formally incorporated into a corporation. So in other words, Kenneth William Dost, all caps, is not a corporation. It is an entity that's been incorporated to and into the corporations, associations, partnerships, governments of others. Informed consent. I just knowing about it. Now, what I've done here is this. You notice I said here that did I give it definition? I don't think I did. Did I? I don't think I did. I think I did. No, I didn't. Okay, intellectual property. Well, I did. Intellectual properties includes in the definition of intellectual properties includes patents, trademarks / service marks, copyrights, appellations of origin, what they call know-how, and trade secrets. Well, guess what? This model was purposefully not promulgated to the public that equal protections requires. And it was kept a secret from us. And nobody knows, and you can't, it's not possible for anybody to know something, have knowledge of something they have no idea exists, right? You can't investigate something, you can't learn about something that you don't know exists, right? Then it'd be an inventor, right? But we'll get in that later. But you have to have an inkling of knowledge to say, okay, well, here maybe I'm gonna look over here, because everybody looks to case law and civil law and these things, codes and statutes, for where they think they need to be looking on matters, because they don't know that intellectual properties exist. They don't know anything about intellectual properties. They don't have an inkling of knowledge to investigate that. Now, how I got into this, God only knows, but I did, and I'm glad I did, because what I've done here is a wonderful thing. I delivered it to. I kind of look at it as our destiny. So the people that came along with me on this thing, it's our destiny when we submitted our documents to get out of the system and get reversion and restitution. That's my destiny. And it is. And I also looked at it thinking, okay, well, this is a blessing of God, because if you know me and Sandy and people that know me will attest to this, that I have an uncanny understanding of this stuff that it's just uncanny. And I find information, understand it better than most people can. And I think it's because of my architectural background, because, if you're in architecture, you design things, right? You design things in your head, and you design a building before you even permit it and do all the drawings on it before you do any construction on it. So you have to be able to think in your head. So architecture, it's visual. So I think it's because of this vision. I can see things visually that I can understand what we're talking about here. That's going to be maybe some difficult. It's going to be difficult for some people to do. For some people, it may be impossible to figure out. So to find another way to get you to understand this, and we can do that. We can do that through just basic contracts law, and basically the fact that what was struck here was an unlawful. Was not a bargain on equal footing. You have one party here that's purposefully kept withheld information from you about disclosures that are pertinent to the transaction, and that you lied to about that. So basically, what you're doing here is what we're looking at doing here is we're looking at teaching people to walk into the kitchen and catch your neighbor's hand in the cookie jar. You think, there's where all those cookies have been going to, you little shit. That little shit's been coming over here and stealing all the cookies. Now I know where they've gone. So what we want to do here is get everybody to understand this, to get everybody to understand that you're walking in, you're catching the government's hand, well, not this with the government and let's just say attorneys at law, hand in the cookie jar that's been stealing from you your whole fucking life. You never knew about it. Now you know about it. So now that the secret's out, no longer a secret. Now they got to return everything that was stolen from me. So that little shit's got to go back over and bake all those cookies. Probably won't be as good as the one my mother made, but you get the picture. So anyhow, what we want to do is we want to teach you about this, what's going on here with these patents and trademarks. This is very important. It is the most important subject that you can embrace it and wrap yourself around right now. I know that it's hard. There's a lot of distractions going on right now, and there are. This country's in serious, serious problems with Donald Trump. Serious problems. This man needs to be taken out. He needs to be arrested. He needs to be convicted, and he needs to be whatever happens there. But this is not my America. I hope this is not your America either. But we can do something about it. And so anyhow, so what I did was under the Uniform Trade Secrets Act, remember intellectual properties. One of the definitions of an intellectual property that includes is trade secret. And so Uniform Trade Secrets Act defines a trade secret as information including a formula, pattern, compilation, program, device, method, technique, or process. Okay, we're talking about patents here. We're talking about patterns. Excuse me. We're talking about algorithms, right? Patterns being algorithms, compilations being a compilation of information, and a program, of course, automated patent program is automated. It's a program. A device. What kind of device is it? Well, it goes through computers, right? It is stored on RAM. It's built on silicon chips and saved and processed this way. And so it's got all kinds of devices involved. It also has devices of digital devices and radio devices and things of that nature. So you got those things in here. And you've also got a method. Well, of course, it's a method. It's a business method, right? It's a method on doing something. It's a method of method of lying to you that you got a mortgage loan when in fact it wasn't a mortgage loan, it was a lease agreement. So it's a method. And what else I say here? It's a technique. Okay, well, it's a technique. Yes, it's obviously a technique and it's a process. So that defines a trade secret. Okay, now these are let's see. I already said these are tens upon tens of thousands of automated governmental, commercial, and trade finance patented processes purposely not promulgated to the collective posterity. That's you and me. That equal protection requires. Now, a trade secret derives independent economic value, actual or potential, from not being generally known and not being readily ascertainable by proper means. You don't know something, you're not going to go seek something out you don't know about, right? It's going to have an inkling of knowledge to kind of investigate, right? Let's see. Trade secrets may be obtained by lawful means such as independent discovery and keyword here, reverse engineering. This is what I did. Which is precisely and exactly what individuals in this group and I've done. Okay, now it's also, if we go over to trademark law, it's also unlawful for any person on or in connection with any goods or services or any container for goods uses in commerce any word, term, name, symbol, or device, or any combination thereof, or any false designations of origin. Mortgage electronic registrations is a perfect example. They lied to us. They lied to, over 100 million mortgage loans. Said that they were a corporation. Said that they were, and they're not a corporation. Not MERS Corp Holdings is a corporation. MERS Corp Inc. is a corporation. Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Inc. was a corporation at one point in time, but then it was merged and it became, I think it was MERS Inc. at that point in time. Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Inc. is a registered trademark of the United States of America, which means it has a circle R to it. And by law, it has to be represented anywhere it's posted. They didn't represent that within the mortgage loan agreement. Okay, so so that was let's see, where was I here? That was the false designation of origin. Okay, that's where was that? That's a false designation of origin. So you don't know what the origin is. You don't know what MERS is. Well, the purpose of trademarks is so that a consumer can source the origin of the products that they're contemplating purchasing or using. Well, we weren't given that. We were lied to what MERS was. Purposely and intentionally lied to. So anyhow, continuing on here. So a false or misleading description of fact. Well, we just said that. Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Inc. as represented in the Fannie Mae document is a misrepresentation. They say they're a corporation. No, it's MERS Corp Holdings is the corporation. Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Inc. is the trademark. Let's see, or false or misleading representation of fact, which we just said, which is likely to cause confusion. Well, it can't cause confusion if you don't know you've been lied to. You can't be confused about what you've been lied to about, right? Or to cause mistake, or to deceive as to the affiliation, connection, or association of such person, RKR, MERS, with another person, or as to the origin, sponsorship, or approval of his or her goods, services, or commercial service commercial activities by another person or in commercial advertising or promotion misrepresents the nature, characteristics, qualities, or geographic origin of his or her another person's goods, products, services, and commercial activities. Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems, Inc., as represented within the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac standard uniform instrument that over 100 million people, including myself, signed, is a farce. It's a lie. They lied to us. So they didn't tell us there's a hidden contract attached to this thing, which we're going to get to. I'm going to get to that one in the next series, in the next episode here. Go more in detail about that. Let's see. Anything else for this one here? It is. I'll get into the general counsel, get into patents and trademarks here, and all of that. Let's see here. Oh. Well, I'll get into that in the next one. No. This is let me get some more important points about this model here, just general points. This legislative model that we're talking about, we defined here as the legislature's commerce and trade finance, government economics / public-private marketplace. So anytime you hear me say government model, that's what I'm referring to. It's a game. It quite literally is a game. It's a game to take that immaterial property of yours, exploit the shit out of it, accumulate great value to it with the anticipation that you're never going to find out. You're never going to figure this thing out. How can you? How can you find out about it? We've hidden it from you. We've lied to you. We've made you look in other directions. We made you think that ordinary course practices still exist. So, you're just a stupid ass state of ignorance. And that's what they're betting on. So that when you die, well, you don't even have to die. You can just, an event of default, that's another thing with this model. An event of default means that attorneys can pounce on it and start, gathering up all that millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars that have been accumulating. That's really in your name, so that they can take it from you as soon as they move to move to a foreclosure and then an eviction, and they can say, "Oh, he abandoned his estate," and they can collect on it. That's what this is. This is a game, folks. It's a game. I just told you the most treasured trade secret the United States of America has. That we live in a collective, austerity, collective membership, where that is for it's not for individuals, but for what's best for the community, right? What's best for society. It's not what's best for you or me, it's what's best for society. And of course, the prevailing winds dictate what that is. Right now, the prevailing winds are taking us into fascism, even though the majority of the population doesn't want to do that. But what you're doing here is you're saying, what we're doing here is we're separating ourselves from the collective membership, the collective posterity, as an individual person that has intellect and has a higher level of intellect than the ordinary person would have. And I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just saying that these are the things we're talking about here are on levels of the higher intellect, things that are that you can't see, can't touch, can't taste, can't feel, can't smell, because they're all conjured in the mind of other people, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. So and that's what they've done here. So it's why the United States of America is the most richest nation in the world. So you wonder to yourself, why are all the billionaires getting all the tax breaks and everything? Well, you know where they're getting them from. It's called patents and trademarks. So the idea here is stepping out in front of you. So you've got the body and your soul, right? Well, we were born body and soul. That's what God created us. Actual existence. And actual existence was ripped apart from us. It was usurped by that pledge that our mother was tricked into giving. So it's usurped. So that's why we become the competent animal, basically. And and we're incompetent because we don't understand that this intellectual soul. We don't understand that there's more to us than just our physical being. That we're out there in the universe. That our soul is out there in the universe. That we have an existence out there in the universe. And that existence, though, has been taken and controlled by somebody else. They're controlling it. They have complete control over it. It's slavery. What it is fucking slavery. And so anyhow, It's time to come in and say, okay, I opt out. I quit. I revoke. I rescind. I don't that pledge that my mother was tricked into giving and I knew nothing about, and I now acquired knowledge about it. And now I'm coming in here and I'm putting my feet down as a living man and saying, I mean, so species, genus. That's another thing about patents and trademarks too. So we're going to get into all these things, okay? The point here being is that if you lost your home, you want to know about this stuff. So if you know somebody that lost your home, please share this with them. And if you haven't lost your home, share it with yourself. Share it with your friends anyhow. I've got a lot to offer here, and I think that we're in a bad position right now. I think that we need to we all need to take back, not take back, but kind of opt out of this system. Opt out of it. Say fuck it. Fuck it. Get our nationality, foreign nationality status, and become exempt and kind of become an independent contractor of the United States of America as opposed to a United States citizen that's tied to that's locked into this fascism. And guess what? We have a right to do so. When the government, I forgot what the saying is. When the government doesn't serve you right, you have a right to replace the government. Right? Right now, that's one out. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be part of this fascism. I'm not. This is not fascism. I didn't sign up for this. This is not what this nation was formed upon. So it's another reason why we can get on this thing. So and I think it's important to do that, and we can do that. We have the lawful and moral duty to do that, and so that's what this is about. So that's what we're going to be talking about in these talks of ours, and a couple other things here, just as a general notes here before we get into real specifics of these things. So what we're going to do is we're going to call the hedge in this business model, but then we're going to invoke the First Amendment as well. And the reason why we're doing that, freedom of religion. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're talking about a law that supersedes man-made law, and that's the divine law. Now, you're going to say, this is not freedom of religion. Freedom of religion, you can't bring, this is not a Christian nation. And you're right, it's not a Christian nation. It's absolutely not a Christian nation. However, there is a sense of morals about things, is there not? And Jefferson refers to this quite well. And he says, let's see, he says, when he says, well, here's what I wrote. This brings us to the second part of this two-part claim. The first part was the hedge. The second part exercises freedom of religion, rights under the First Amendment. This defers to the higher law that supersedes and overturns man-made law, discoverable in the, quote, the head and heart of every rational and honest man. Ain't many of them nowadays, is there? It is here nature has written her moral laws, and where every man or woman may read them for himself. Who said that? Thomas Jefferson. Game over. So it's not about Catholicism or Protestantism or any of this or any of these evangelical motherfuckers that are evil, twisted sons of bitches. They're not Christian. It's just about morals, honesty, and coming forward and realizing that, wait a second here, God created me with a body and a soul. Now of course I have a soul, but the soul though can exist outside the body, can't it? Because you can't touch, taste, or feel, or identify even what a soul is, can you? It can exist in whatever form somebody makes it into. But the reason why it's an intellectual soul is because we're part of the universe. Okay, the soul is part of the universe. We're energy. Okay, and we'll get into all these things down the road and everything. So I'm not going to go too far into that. But let me just say a couple other things here about what our rights are here. And these go back to the quotes from our founding fathers. And what is freedom of religion? Freedom of religion means that a man is not to suffer civil disabilities because of his religious beliefs. The quote: the General Assembly shall not have power to abridge the civil right of any person on account of his religious beliefs. Well, what are our religious beliefs? Our religious beliefs are that we're stepping outside the rule of law, man-made law. Why? Because the rules in the rule of law are immoral. And the civil codes and statutes are not law. They're patented business models. So law is arbitrary. We're going on about the moral aspects of it. We're saying that God created us and we're a creation of God. You can't uncreate us and call us and say that we're an incompetent animal You can't uncreate what God created. And that's what you're doing. And you're saying that I don't ever have that I'm never going to become the actual existence of God, body and soul, because you made it so impossible for me to even learn about this stuff that I'm just going to, I'm never going to know about this stuff. But now that I know about it, I'm going to call you out on it. And now they call you out on it. You need to have the fucking integrity to honor it. And if you don't, then deal with the public outrage and scandal that's going to follow. That's where we're at in this thing. So anyhow, the General Assembly shall not have power to restrain one from professing and supporting that belief or to compel him to contributions. Taxes or contributions, right? Other than those he shall personally stipulate it. Well, we didn't personally stipulate it because birthright citizenship, the cost of birthright citizenship is the price of our soul. It wasn't told us. Nobody's going to say, yeah, I'll give you all my rights, title, and interest in all properties I have ever owned or ever will acquire. Who's going to do that? Nobody. So and then for Jefferson to suffer the civil magistrate to intrude his powers into the field of opinion and to restrain the profession or propagation of principles on suppositions of their old tendency is a dangerous fallacy which at once destroys liberty, religious freedom. Now, all acts of the legislature apparently contrary to natural law and justice are in our laws and must be in the nature of things considered as void. The laws of nature are the laws of God. A legislature must not obstruct their obedience to him, from whose punishments they cannot protect us. All human constitutions which contradict his laws, his being God, are in conscience bound to disobey. Such have been the adjudications of our courts of justice. And James Madison said, I believe all persons shall have the full and free liberty of religious opinions. Liberty of conscience is one of the choicest liberties of people. Another big believer was George Washington, who said that the exercise of their inherent natural rights, the foremost being of liberty of conscience. And Jefferson, back to Jefferson again, wrote, our civil rights have no dependence on our religious opinions, that therefore the prescribing any citizen is unworthy of the public confidence by laying upon him an incapacity of being called to office of trust or emoluments, unless he profess or renounce this or that religious opinions, depriving him injuriously those privileges and advantages to which, in common with his fellow citizens, lie has a natural right. What's he saying there? He's saying, what's our religious opinion? What's your trust? I mean, all these attorneys are holding everything. They're the ones that control the trust and everything, right? We're not worthy of it because we haven't professed our religious beliefs, our moral beliefs. Yeah, exactly. Not talking about it's about leading a good and virtuous life. But how can you lead a good and virtuous life that God wants us to lead if we're living in a state of ignorance? Right? You don't understand body, soul. That's what this is about. That's what this all is based on, guys. Okay, and the natural rights of the gift of God, which clothes us with a distinctive nature. The equal right of every citizen to the free exercise of his religion according to the dictates of conscience is held by the same tenure with all our other rights. If we recur to its origin, it is equally the gift of nature. It's James Madison. Now, natural rights and personal properties that goes beyond the bundle of rights and realty and personality that comprehends developments of every individual personality, which is the intellect. Property, as James Madison defined it, embraces everything to which a man may attach a value and have a right. It's trademarks. And which leads to everyone else the like advantage, unless, of course, it's kept secret from you. A man has a property in his opinions and a free communication of them. First Amendment rights, right? He has a property of peculiar value in his religious opinions and the profession and practice dictated by them. He has a property very dear to him in the safety and liberty of his person. He has an equal property and free use of his faculties and free choice of the objects on which to employ them. Well, if you're being incorporated into all these patents and trademarks, that's taking all your rights away in properties that you're entitled to, like revenues and all this stuff. Is that not is that interfering with those rights? Your free choice? You don't have a free choice. It's imposed upon you. In a word, as a man is said to have rights in his property, he may equally said to have a property in his rights. The right to possess property springs from the law of nature. Arbitrary limitations and imposed controls on the acquisition and use of property are violative of right. These include governmental protection of realty and chattels. And concluding here, whereas the principles of the Constitution, Jefferson stated in conclusion, are a sure guarantee to you that your property will be preserved to you sacred and inviolate, and that your institution will be permitted to govern itself according to its own voluntary rules without interference from the civil authority. So that's what we're doing here. We're coming in. They've held it for us. It's held in advance. They just never think they were going to come and claim it. Right now, they come and claim it. You better goddamn give it over to me. Sorry, God, didn't mean that. The goal of the state is the temporal happiness of man and its proximate purpose, the preservation of external juridical order, and the provision of a reasonable abundance of means of human development in the interests of its citizens and posterity. Yeah, that's why you've gotten the Department of Education, huh? Government is instituted to protect property of every sort, as well as that which lies in the various sorts rights of individuals, as that which the term particularly expresses. This being the end of government, that alone is a just government which impartially secures to every man whatever is his. Now, the end of government, of course, the end of our lives, right? So we're mortal. We die back to the earth and our soul goes, right? So that's the end of our government. So we have a right to secure what is ours. That's what we're doing. All men are by nature free and independent and have certain inherent rights, of which, when they enter into a state of society, they cannot by any compact to deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty. With the means of acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness. Happiness is an attribute of individuals and corresponds with the rights of individuals. The state was instituted to protect and defend, not to take away. Both Republicans and Democrats did that, though. Let's see here. Laws of legislation. I'm almost done here on this one. The power of the state is limited by the end for which it was instituted. That is, quote, the natural happiness of the perfect or self-sufficient human community and the happiness of individuals, as they are members of such a community, that they may live therein peaceably and justly, and with the sufficiency of goods for the preservation and comfort of their bodily life, and with so much moral rectitude as is necessary for this eternal peace and happiness. Socialism! Republicans do socialism! Not socialism. It's just understanding what you have in this world. What's God gave you that soul, that was turned to an artificial person for us to use for our use and benefit, not for the use and benefit of fucking attorneys or these billionaires boys clubs, Elon Musk. Not for their fucking use, for our use. It was stolen from us. And the secrets behind it, and the knowledge of this was kept secret from us. The laws of the legislature of these United States of America are human laws, the foundation upon which rests natural law, which has been totally abrogated by positive laws and moral legal enactments. Laws are valid and equitable only insofar as they correspond with and enforce or supplement natural law. The authority of government is not arbitrary to every whim and caprice. Well, that's what this is. It is. It's arbitrary. It's an irrational government that has become lawless tyranny. That's what it's a fascist tyranny. So, in closing, the United States of America is violating its own very fucking laws that it wrote, and also the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It states everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in a community with others or in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Now, we're not supposed to give any benefit or any preference to religion or anything like that, but we're not. By claiming our moral theology that God created us and we exist and we ought to be thankful for God. God's the one who created us. And what's my duties and obligations to God? My duties and obligations to God are not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Just to live a good and virtuous life. Not to shit on others. To treat others as we would want to be treated and to expect the same in return. To love other people. Black, brown, Asian, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're all human beings. We're all children of God. We're all the sons and daughters of God. And so anyhow, Article 18 of the United States Universal Declaration of Human Rights. There's many violations here that the United States has violated. Article 1, and these are what's been violated. Article 1, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with the reason and conscience and should act towards one another in the spirit of brotherhood, which I just mentioned. Article 3, everyone has a right to life, liberty, and the security of person. I don't see much security of black and brown people right now, do you? Not at all. Article 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all its forms. Well, they have enslaved us. They control us. They control all these levers. They control what our reality is by giving us an image of what reality is. And of course, what we see is our reality, but we don't understand there's another that reality is being painted by what's happening behind the scenes. Okay, by the levers that control us. Article 7. All are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. Well, isn't ICE just stomping all over that? Thank you very much. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Article 8, everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. You know what? The person we're going to bombard is the director of United States Patent and Trademarks Office, who is also the Undersecretary of Commerce for Intellectual Properties. And her name, the acting director, is Morgan Cook Stewart right now. Article 12, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondent, nor to attacks upon his honor and reputation. Well, if you've been thrown out at the point of a gun, your reputation was ruined, wasn't it? Your character was destroyed. Your dignity was destroyed. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attacks. Article 17, everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. Now, yes, we have a right to own property, but none of us own property. You don't even own your underwear or socks. Because if somebody comes in and throws you out of your house, you're not going to be able to take those with you. You don't even own those. And as far as associations are concerned, yes, we have the right to free association, but when you have secret agreements that are incorporating into the unincorporated association, into the American Bar Association or into national bank associations, that's not free will, is it? Not at all. Not at all. Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom of change. Okay, this goes into just worship and observances. We don't need to have that does go up in the Catholicism, Protestantism, so on and so forth. Article 21, Article 20, everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association, and no one may be compelled to belong to an association. American Bar Association is their little slaves, as the case may be here. So anyhow, so that is that wraps up this episode, Dost Ism 26, 27, whatever one it is. So we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff here. We're gonna get deep in the weeds here, folks. We're gonna get real deep in the weeds. By the time we're done here, we're gonna be millions, hopefully many millions strong. That we're gonna go after the place that we need to go after to take back our rights, and that's at the origin point, which is the United States Patent and Trademarks Office. So anyhow, thank you for joining me. Hit a like, subscribe, and all the other things I've got to get on here yet. Share this with your friends. If you know, if you lost your home from MERS, or you know somebody that did, please share this with them. This needs to be shared. I've got something to share with people. I got something to share, something to show people, to teach people, that we can do something about. So thank you for joining me. That's it for this episode. Thank you. Have a good day, all.